Welcome all to Bullshit and Bourbon, the crypto edition. I'm Veteran Crypto, and I've had a couple people ask me, in different chats. I've been talking about Aerodrome Finance and kind of my journey over the past couple weeks of earning off my bags. Both stacking my existing bags, building new bags, and also taking profits into stables so that I have dry powder to take advantage of these dips. Those of you that have been in crypto for a while know how hard it is to, keep dry powder or, liquid cash on hand to take advantage of large dips in the market. Because if you're doing that all the time, you get excited about the upcoming bull market and, kind of the beginning that we're currently in, and you're jumping in every time it dips. And unless you have a lot of money or a lot of discipline, then you run out of dry powder quick. So I myself have tried trading and honestly wasn't that great at it. Made a little bit of money, but didn't feel like that was where my efforts were best spent. So I decided to start looking into DeFi a couple weeks ago, and it's treated me really well. I got my notes that I'm going to use to kind of keep me on track. But on average, I'm making about 1% a day, return on my investment. And I started with $10,000. So I had a nice round number to more easily, be able to track. And I have my spreadsheet and everything. And I've been making a little over $100 a day. So a little over 1%. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this. Let me share my screen. Actually, probably a good idea if I pulled up Aerodrome Finance. All right, so we'll share the entire screen. There we go. So this is Aerodrome Finance. We'll go ahead and just go to the home page, and I'm just going to walk everyone through notes over here so I can follow along with you all. All right. So this is the homepage for Aerodrome Finance. And as you can see up here, I'm already logged in, but this is where you would click to connect your wallet, your Ethereum wallet. I use my Coinbase wallet. It's just super easy. It's seamless to move stuff from Coinbase to your Coinbase wallet and be able to interact with Aerodrome and be able to move your assets seamlessly without having to worry about sending it to the wrong address and things like that. I actually named my wallet my actual name, so it's not that string of random letters and numbers. So I know for a fact if I click on my name .cb.id, I know that's my wallet. So anyway, so I'm going to go over some of the basics of the Aerodrome platform. So first off, you have like you have on every DeFi platform, is you have your swap, and that's where you can swap one asset for another asset. Very basic. Say you have Aero and you want to swap that for wrapped ETH. You just pick Aero, wrapped ETH, tells you how much you have available, and if I click on it, it will do the max. It will compute, and it will tell me for 230.393 Aero, I'll give you this many wrapped ETH. We'll wait a second. Looks like my cat wants to join us. So yeah, for those 230 Aero, I'll get 0.093 wrapped ETH if I wanted to do that. And then as you can see over here, it gives you all the details. It tells you exactly how many wrapped ETH you get for each Aero. You get 1%. I have a slippage of 1%. Those of you that don't know what slippage is whenever I initiate the swap, it's what the protocol will allow the price difference to be and allow the transaction to go through. So what it does is it keeps you from especially in highly volatile pairs, it will keep you from losing money. So like say I had like a 20% slippage, which I would never do, then it would go through and potentially I could lose up to 20% of the value of, like, say, of Arrow, transferring it into ETH. So definitely want to make sure that you keep this as low as possible. If you do it too low, and it's, again, it's a volatile pair, it just will keep giving you errors. It won't let it go through because it's not catching it, below that slippage. I hope that made sense. Minimum received, it tells you exactly. This is what I love about Aerodrome, is it's for people like me that are new to this. It's very intuitive. The UI, or user, interface, and the UX, the user experience, is really, really nice. So this tells me this is the minimum wrapped ETH I'll receive, worst case scenario. And then basically I just would hit allow. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to swap out my Arrow. I want my Arrow price to go up before I swap out my rewards. I would click that, and then there's another button appears and says swap. And for each, I can do it. I won't actually do the swap, but you can see this will pop up, and it'll give me a warning that I'm giving access to the platform to all my Arrow, of course. But you can see, I mean, even though that base is on the Ethereum network, the fee is only 1 cent. If I was trying to do this on the Ethereum mainnet, those of you that are familiar, it'd be like $40, $50 per transaction. And it takes, you'll see here in a minute, it takes 4 or 5 transactions to, add liquidity to a liquidity pool. So, unless you're making large transactions, it makes no sense. I mean, those of you out there, I'm sure that you have, Ethereum dust in a bunch of different wallets because it'd cost you more to move it than it's worth. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on. All right, so let's go to the dashboard next. Yeah, and you can see the transaction failed because I closed it out. So this is my dashboard. So you'll be able to see what I have going on. So I have my deposited and staked liquidity. So these are the two pools that I'm in. Both are wrapped ETH USDC, and I'll explain, why I have 2 of them here in a minute. And then right below it, they're the same ones. So you can see the deposit 2606844, 2606844. The difference is this is telling me how much I have in there. So I have almost $4,500 in wrapped ETH, and then $1,389 in USDC. Down here, it's telling me in that pool, this is what I've earned. So right now I'm earning 100, and this is actually really low, 122% APR in emissions. This is my emissions, the 10, I claimed this morning. So I only have 10 Arrow that I've earned since earlier this morning. And then you can see that I have another $100 of wrapped ETH that I've earned in fees, and then another $97 in USDC that I've earned in fees. So basically what you have is this here next to, where you see the pool, you have this 0.04%, the pool trading fee. That is what people are paying, like that screen before when I was doing swaps. That's the fee that that I would have paid if I was trying to swap between wrapped ETH and USDC. Would be 0.04%, super low, but it encourages a lot of volume, and with that volume, you'll see is more profit. So based off of that, that's how I'm getting these trading fees. This is emissions. This is the platform rewarding me for putting my liquidity here. This is the fees that other people are paying me to use that liquidity. I hope that makes sense. I know I say that a lot, but I do. I hope it makes sense. All right. So I think that's it for that for a minute. All right. So here's liquidity, and these are the liquidity pools. So we'll start at the top. So if you know what you're looking for, you can come up here and really simple, you pick the tokens that you're wanting to provide liquidity for. So if I know I'm a huge fan of wrapped ETH USDC, click wrapped ETH, click USDC. You can see here's my two pools that I'm already in, but you can see you need to be careful because there's an AMM, a VAMM, and an SAMM, but they're not really paying a whole lot. So I'm looking up here and I'm seeing that, the ones I'm in is 732%. So, obviously, this is the one that I want to be in. And I'll also get to something in a minute here, but this isn't the only factor you want to look at. But let's continue on. I don't want to get off track. So that's one way that you can find a liquidity pool. You can also go to here. Obviously you have, the ones that are active. You can do stable. So basically stable coins, and you can earn some really good yields off just doing stables. You can use USDC, USDT, and earn about 14 or 15% APR. No volatility whatsoever. No um, Aerodrome, and those of you that were here for the market, there was a couple platforms that went under, and when they go under, if your deposits aren't backed or insured, then you potentially can lose your funds. So again, don't want to get off track. You have volatile, and so obviously, just like the name implies, these are the ones that are going to move up and down. The pairs are going to move up and down quite a bit. Concentrated, incentivized, and I'll be honest, I don't fully understand. I'm still learning. It's only been a couple of weeks of what some of these mean. Low TVL, low total value locked, and I would suggest staying away from those. Just from what I know so far, you want ones that have a good amount of TVL. And again, I'll get into that here in a second. These are the ones I'm participating in. And then, of course, you have all pools. So that's about it for that. Next tab is you have vote. Excuse me. So once vote comes up. All right. So voting. This is another aspect of how you can earn. So let's actually go to lock first. So I have a lock. You can see right here, I have 5,170 arrow locked. And what that does is by locking that, I get what's called VE arrow. So say that I want to create a lock and I want to deposit arrow. I can deposit, what I got free right now, what I have liquid. If I want to do that 230, if I do it for 4 years, if I lock it up, if I have confidence that arrow is going to be around in 4 years and I lock it up, then I get the max amount, 230 VE arrow, the voting arrow. So that allows me, it's a liquidity token basically. And I can adjust it. I can do it for 7 days. I can do it for a year. I can do it for a couple months. I can do it for whatever. Once I lock that up, then of course I can't access that anymore, but it gives me, if for 4 years, I get an equal amount of VE arrow. With that VE arrow, it allows me to vote. So the way the voting works, and something that's unique about Aerodrome, is all of the fees go back to liquidity providers. So as a VE arrow holder, and since I locked my arrow, and I know this is getting a little bit complicated, and I hope you're all sticking with me. You're able to vote on where those fees are going to go. So you can see that by contributing to these, you can earn. So if you ever heard about the flywheel, this plays into that. And it's basically a way that you can take profits from what you earn from liquidity. You can lock it, you get VE arrow, and you use that VE arrow to vote to get more fees for whatever pools that you prefer, which in turn make you more more emissions, more arrow, and more fees that you can get, then again, put back in lock to get more VE arrow to keep raising your voting power. And you can kind of see how it's a cyclical where, it's, kind of like a snake eating its own tail, and it's just that snake just gets fatter and fatter and fatter. And so it's a way that you can build bags, and you can peel off, some profits and stuff like that to build other bags. So anyway, that's what the VE arrow is for. Is like, here's the wrapped ETH USDC pair that I like. So if I wanted to, then I could, put it into this pool and vote for this pool to get the fees. Right now, this liquidity pair has 13.86% of the VE arrow votes. So that's actually a pretty high number. And that's something else I'm going to get into here in a minute, because it's one of the aspects that's going to play into the profitability of the pair you pick. All right. So that's the basics of the platform. Is swapping, your dashboard, which shows what you're currently in, liquidity, which is where you find whichever pair that you want to get into, the vote, the locking, which gives you the VE arrow to vote, and incentivize. I have not looked into, so I'm not going to even pretend like I know. I do know that it is a way, they call them bribes, that you can do to try to get people to, to vote for, the liquidity pair that you want them to vote for. So, and there's a way that you can earn from it. But again, I haven't dove into it, so I don't want to share that. All right. So next step, picking a pool. So we'll just use the one that I'm familiar with. So what I usually do is I come here to the top, I click on volume, and it will sort it by the one that has the largest volume. Volume is what is going to give you the fees. So I don't know if you remember, but in the dashboard over here, and it's a huge part of my earnings. So it's these two together are almost as much as what I earn in emissions. So like if I earn $100 in emissions, a lot of times, not exactly, but I'll have like $50 in wrapped ETH and $50 in USDC is how it usually plays out. So it's a good portion of my earnings, around 50%. So you want a good heavy volume, because that means there's a lot of people doing swaps. Volume is the volume of people doing swaps. With that volume, it comes fees. With fees comes your profits. Again, here's the fees. There's been $1,084,452 million worth of fees today, and I'm earning a portion of that. The APR is for the emissions, the arrow that the platform is rewarding me with. So right now, and don't put too much weight into this because it's an average over the past year. And I'll show you a more accurate way to look at it. But yes, you want a high APR. So this is why I love the wrapped ETH USDC so much, is there's really good volume, really good APR, really high fees, and there a lot of the votes, could have a higher pool trading fee, but I kind of like that it's low because it helps the volume. So let's see, we covered pool trading fee, we covered APR, volume, and fees. All right. So let's go over picking a range. So once you find the one that you want to do, so say I was going to, add another position, I can new deposit, and it brings this up. So these are preset ranges that the system makes for you. You have a narrow, a common, and a wide. And what that is the range. So at the bottom here, you can see the prices. And this is the price of ETH. Because obviously USDC is a stable coin. It's $1, $1, $1. So basically, as you can see, the narrow, which is going to give me the highest APR, is plus or minus 3. So off the current price, you have plus 3% and negative 3%. And so it's a 6% total range that, you're going to, basically be in. And let me show you. I'm more of a visual person, so hopefully this helps. Let me move this out of the way. So as you can see, I'm using Deck Screener, and if you want an easy way to pull up, the proper, like this one, the Aerodrome, because if you look up Wrap ETH USDC, you're going to get, Uniswap, you're going to get a bunch of different ones. So what I usually do for this is I'll come here. Let's go back to here. So you find the pair that you want, hover over this little, dot here, and it will tell you the pool address. Copy the pool address, come back to here and just paste it into this search right here, and it will pull this up. Not these lines, but it will pull up the chart. So off of this chart, what you're going to do is you're going to look at, let's go back to here. You're going to look at the bottom. So this is the bottom of the range, 29.8693. So 29.8693. So you'd find that here on the side, and you can, use this little, line tool here. And that's what I did. It just did like a horizontal line. You'll probably have to come over to here and actually pick it. And you put a line at that level. Go back and find the upper end of the range. In this case, it's 31.71. Come back, find 31.71. That'd be about right there. Did I lose everybody? My camera went off. For some reason, my camera stopped working. All right. I apologize. Don't know where I lost you guys at, but I'll back up a little bit to hopefully go over. So just to recap, here is the bottom of the range. Here's the top of the range. I put some lines, bottom of the range, top of the range. And so you can see, as long as the price of ETH, seeing as it's the one that's going to, determine the up and down because it's the one that's volatile, as long as it stays between that upper range and that lower range, I'm earning fees and emissions. Ah, cool. Thanks, Ducey. As long as it's within that range, I'm earning the fees and emissions. If at any given point it moves out of there, I stop earning. And I'll get to the details here in a second, but you have to make a choice. Are you going to wait for it to come back into range and start earning for you again, or do what's called a rebalance? But I'll get to that here in a moment. You have common, which I just call mid. So it's a wider range. It's plus or minus 8. So as a 16%, 8% positive, 8% negative. So a total of 16%, of space for it to move around in. But you have a lower APR, you're going to earn less. But if the market starts to get a little more volatile, it's going to stay in range and keep you earning longer. You earn less, but while you're sleeping and stuff like that, it's more likely to stay in range. You're seeing my face in all the gray. Yeah, I got a lot of gray, man. And then, of course, you got wide. And it's just, again, it's just a wider range, less APR, but again, it stays in range and you don't have to watch it as much. Me, I my strategy is I have the reason I have those two pools is because one of them is a mid range, and as you can see in my chart, is these two blue lines is my narrow, and you can see it popped out. I wasn't earning when it was out here, but all the rest of this time that it's been bouncing around in this range, and you can do a little bit of TA too. You can look at it and you can see, this has been support. You got to bounce, you got to bounce, you got to bounce, you got to bounce. That's what I used to come up with my lower range. I did a custom range. You can see here, it acted as resistance. It acted as a resistance. It acted as resistance, all the way down here. You can see it came down here and almost acted as support again. So, ETH hasn't broken out. Those of you that are watching the markets. So this whole time, I've been earning. And then of course you can see my mid range is this super wide one. So even if I'm sleeping and it pops out of my narrow range, it's like, yeah, that one stops earning for me. But my other pool with the wider range is going to keep earning. And then if I wake up and it's been out of range for, too long, or what I feel is too long, then I can do what's called a rebalance. But let's do this real quick. Let me pull up my notes. I need notes to stay on track. I'm old. All right. So I highly suggest that you do this, especially if you're very visual, because just looking at this, it, like, for me, doesn't do anything. And this isn't going to stay the same, so it's not something you can reference. This is all you're going to see on Aerodrome. I hope they come up with a little more user friendly dashboard that gives you better analytics. But this is the way it is right now. And all it really does is give you this. So if this is green, you're in range and you're earning. And obviously you're earning because you can see a percentage here, and this little circle is going. If you see 0 here and that is red, that means you're out of range. And again, you have to figure out, am I going to rebalance, or am I going to wait for it to come back into range? And now I'm going to get into that. Maximizing profits. So there are risks to doing this. With any kind of profits you're going to make, the more potential profits, the more potential risk. So one of the risks of providing liquidity is something called impermanent loss. And I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. Impermanent loss happens as let's go back to presentation. I've been talking to you guys and not sharing my screen. All right. So impermanent loss. So it's initially when I enter one of these pools, for the most part, where the price is going to be dead center in between my upper and my lower range. As the price moves up, it's going to start selling off I always get this wrong. In this case, since it's wrapped ETH USDC, as it moves up, it starts to sell off my ETH and buy USDC. As it moves down, it starts to sell off my USDC and buy wrapped ETH. I hope I got that right. It could be inverted. But in doing that, as it passes this lowest range and starts dipping down into here, if I'm not paying attention, then if I'm fully in USDC, then it basically DCA'd out. And I'm going to be, safe with USDC. If it goes up, however, and I end up heavy in wrapped ETH, and that's why I think that it's inverted, is as it goes down, it's buying wrapped ETH. And so if it keeps going down, I'm losing money. If it keeps going up and it's buying USDC, then at some point I'm maxed out in USDC. And as ETH keeps going up, I'm not making money. I'm out of range. I'm not making money. And I'm maxed out in USDC, which is stable, and I'm not making money. So that's why sometimes it's important in a volatile market to have wider ranges, or keep an eye or set alerts. Just my 2 cents. Awesome. I appreciate you guys showing up. Let me know if you guys have any questions, or you feel like I'm missing anything. All right, let's pull up what's next in my notes. All right, so that is the best I'm going to be able to do to explain impermanent loss. There's some people out there that can do a much better job, and I highly encourage you to seek them out. Rebalance fees. This is important because it's key to staying profitable. Anytime that you go to rebalance, there's the fees. And here, let me go back to here. So whenever I want to exit, like say this one here, it turns red, I stop earning. It's been out of range for an hour, a day, a week, whatever. I decide I need to start earning again. Basically, what you end up doing is you want to claim everything. So I've found that you don't necessarily need to like hit claim. You can just unstake, because whenever you're putting your liquidity in, initially you'll put it in and it will give you the option to stake, and it'll have a little dot. If you don't stake, you're not going to get the trading fees. You'll just get the emissions. So always make sure you stake. Sorry, I missed that. So you need to do the reverse. When you're getting everything out, you need to unstake. When you unstake, it will come up with a transaction. Again, it will be a fraction of a cent or something like that. Not expensive at all. Um, so you unstake, and then after you unstake, then you'll be able to claim your fees, and you'll be able to claim, and you can claim your emissions anytime, but you can't claim your fees until you unstake. So that's good to know. But basically, you go through those couple of transactions and you pay those small fees. I haven't figured out where it happens, but I've found that it's about $4 or $5 somewhere in the process that they get you for $4 or $5. So I wouldn't suggest doing, providing liquidity if you're just using like $100 or $50 or something like that, because what you're earning probably will either break even or not really make you a ton. Like, you can see with what I have in here, I have about 6 grand in this one, and like another another 4 grand in this one. So like I said, I started with 10 grand and I've been peeling profits out and doing other stuff with it. But yeah, so total, I would say for a roundabout number, you can count on about $6 in having to rebalance. And from what I can tell, Aerodrome is one of the best ones out there. Other platforms, my understanding is the fees are much higher. So that's kind of what I've been able to delve so far out of the fees to rebalance. Now, basically what rebalancing is just basically getting back in range and earning again. I don't think there's really too much more I can say on that topic. All right. I'm going to go a little bit more advanced to for people that as you progress and as you get into these pools, the epochs on Aerodrome are 1 week long. They end on Wednesday evenings, which is tonight. And so that's kind of why I chose to do this video today. So again, as I mentioned before, when you lock Aero, you get VE Aero to vote. You can use that to vote on where you feel that fees should be paid out, which liquidity pools should have the fees paid out to. So to pick the best liquidity pool, you want to see where those votes are going ahead of time, not where they are, or for this epoch that we're in, where they're going to be for the next one. So like say I was wanting to enter a liquidity pool right now, I don't necessarily want to look at, let me see if I can find something real quick. what the current percentage is. I want to see what the future percentage is. So the future percentage is this right here, is 13.87 of the votes are going to the liquidity pool that I like to use. But let me give you a little bit of alpha. So what you can do is you can come to Dune, and if you want, go ahead and pause and look at this URL, because it took me a while to find this. And so what this is a bunch of analytics on Aerodrome, on the pools. It gives you like the bribes, the total fees. There's just all kinds of data that you can look up. It's just a data aggregator. And you can see here. So what I did is you can see I already copy and pasted it. But what you can do is you come here, and again, you can hover over that little dot next to the liquidity pool that you're interested in. You can copy it, come over here, paste it into here in the search, and it will bring this up. So you can see these are the past epochs. This is this week that's about to end. Week before that, on down. Now you can go over and you can look at the trend. So you can see the votes. Here you have 69,000, 87,000. It dipped down a little bit to 80, back up to 86, 90, 94. So, 94 million. And you can see the percentage here. You can see we're trending up. So you have 9%, 11%, dip to 10, 11, 11, 12. And now you can see the current one. And again, I can copy that. If I, didn't know where it was at, I could copy this and I can paste it into here and it will bring it up. And I can see it's going up because everyone's been voting this past, during this epoch we're in. And this is where the current voting sits. It's going to end tonight. It could vary a little bit, but right now is a good time to choose a pool. You're getting 13.87% of the votes. That's a good amount. Again, here's your fees, almost 1.5 million in fees that you get a share of currently. Incentives, not a whole lot of incentives, don't need to. It's getting plenty of votes. And total rewards. So here's your fees, here's your rewards, plus you get your emissions. And then, of course, it's currently sitting at 70% of the voting APR. So again, another way to earn. So that is the things that I look at when I'm picking a pool is, I want to look at the next epoch, see how many of the votes that they're getting. I want to look at the TVL. I want to look at the volume. So, yeah, you can see the fees. The fees have been steadily going up, as the epochs are going. Bribes you're not going to see a lot of because, again, it's already getting a lot of the votes. And then, of course, let's go here. So, yeah, the things that I'm always using is the APR. You want a good APR, but again, this isn't the actual current APR. You want volume, you want good fees, you want a decent pool trading fee because again, that's what gets you your fees that you're earning. And then you want to look ahead to the next epoch on what percentage of the votes. And again, that's about it. So, oh, you guys that are in here, do you guys got any questions? Anything I didn't cover, or I'll give it a minute. Let you guys chime up with any questions you might have. Anyone? Going once, going twice? Ducey or Bob? Anyone on X? All right. Well, I mean, I guess to close, I'll just kind of share this. So this is what I've earned so far. So I have this little spreadsheet. Happy to share it. If any of you want to message me, I'm more than happy to send it to you or link it or do something. But basically, it allows me to put in the pairs, the amount of the token, whenever I added it to the liquidity pool, and the price of those tokens when I put it in. Here, oh, okay, no worries, Ducey. Um, here I can put whatever the current amount is. So, I can go to my dashboard, here, and I can put in, whatever, like I said, as the price goes up and down, it's going to be buying and selling off, each of these. So I can put in what I currently have, and this will help you track your impermanent loss. So basically, you put in what you currently have, what the current price is, and then you can add your fees. So again, on your dashboard, you go down to your liquidity rewards, and for that pool, I would put in, my fees. Actually, you know what? I'll do it real quick. So let's do this. I'll move this over here. So the amount of token that I have currently is 1.23238. And I have 2,041.86 USDC. 2,000. Hell's going on? What is? Oh, did I lose the internet? Well, if you guys can see me, sorry, it's trying to connect right now. It's got a pretty good snowstorm going on outside up here at the cabin. All right, I think we're back. All right, so let me see, get back to where I was at. All right, so basically I got my amount of token. So I have 1.26394. $1.26394, and I have 1,944.68. Current price of ETH is 3,077. The amount of fees that I have earned, 0.03168, and $98.42. Current price of Aerodrome is $1.23. That needs to fucking go up. All right, so $1.23, and I have 11.08 emissions. So you can see, since I entered this position and what I currently have, I've earned, my initial value was 5,862 is what I initially put in. If I would have held, if I wouldn't have put it in a liquidity pool and I just held that much ETH and that much USDC, I would have lost money. The total current value without rewards, 5,833. The rewards that I've earned is $209. And so the total current liquidity value plus my rewards is just over 6 grand. My impermanent loss before rewards, I would have lost $3.39 because of that up and down movement. It's like I said, that's why these tracking sheets are really important. And then the total gain loss after rewards, is basically this minus this is $206.14, which is 3.41% that I've earned. And that's honestly, you want to know this, but don't focus too much on it. On the dollar, because I mean, those of you that are watching the markets, you can see a lot of the alts and stuff are in red right now. Aerodrome is at $1.23. I mean, it was up almost a $1.60, and historically has been up over $2. So don't worry too much about the dollar amount. You can watch my dollar amounts here, and you can see how they fluctuate. I went initially from about 17 grand total in to where, I mean, I was starting to get up into 18 grand, and all of a sudden I'm coming back down. I was kind of freaking out, and I'm like, am I losing money in fees or something? And so I had to actually dig for a bit, and I came up with this spreadsheet to help. But what I figured out is that, yeah, a majority of the rewards that I'm earning, other than the fees and the ETH and the USDC, a lot of my, half of my earnings are in Aero. And so, that's going to have a huge impact. The price of Aero is going to have a huge impact on my profitability. So now let's do this. Like, say that, what I cashed out earlier today, say I had 190 Aero. I made $426. Now let's pump this up to $1.60. Now I'm up to $500. So you can see, that just that alone makes a huge difference in how much profit that I have, and that's just for the past couple of days. That's not for this entire time. I've just been, I just got into this liquidity pool, about 4 or 5 days ago. So, over the whole period, I've made, and this is the dollar amount, not the crypto amount, I've made $1,200. So I'm still, even with the downtrend in, Aero and, some of the other holdings, I've still averaged, just a little under $100 a day. Now, when those, unless I sell my Aero, which I'm not going to do, I don't lock in those, that lower price. I'm going to wait till Aero goes up. When it gets back up to like $1.50, $1.60, $1.70, I'll probably sell a bunch of my Aero, and whatever I want to plus up my bags, here, whatever I want to plus up my bags, I got a sneak peek at my portfolio. Say I want to add to my DAG, I want to, add to, Casper, I want to add to Ondo. I can look at what's dipping at that time. If Aero's pumping, I can sell some of that, and I can use that as dry powder to plus up some of my bags. Or I can use that Aero, I can lock it, get more VE Aero to vote to earn more money that way, because you don't earn as much, but by doing a lock, you actually earn about 8-9% APY on your locked up Aero that compounds. So every week right now, I'm earning 65 more Aero, which automatically goes back into here and gives me more VE Aero, which the system, because I automated it, the system automatically puts into these relays that earn 52%, which gives me more, which goes back in, which gives me more VE, more voting power, which, you can kind of see that flywheel where, it's constantly, I'm starting off right now at 65.3 Aero. Here in, a year, it might be where I'm making 200 Aero a week. And then in 2 years, I might be making, 600, and then 800, and then 1,000. And so you can kind of see where this is, kind of a long-term play, but a long-term savings account. Hey, you are not, because this is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor, Ducey. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You are more than welcome to do whatever or not do whatever you want. You are not copy trading me. Yeah. No, I have to use a spreadsheet. I'm an old bastard. I know there's probably better tools out there. And actually, you know what? There kind of is one. Screw it. I'll share it with you. I do not know enough about this platform to say I feel safe trusting it. I am testing it out. It has a lot more functionality and it interacts or has like a API or something where you can actually trade or do the liquidity on the Aerodrome platform. So I can or on Aerodrome. I put a couple of $100 on here to test it out. Should pop up here in a second. It takes a minute to sync up. There it is. You can see my two liquidity rebalance and auto compound or auto harvest, do different things like that. It has a little bit sexier, dashboard where, a lot of the stuff I'm doing on that tracking sheet, it does here for me. And you can see the APRs. Remember before when I was showing you on Aerodrome, it had like 2000% APR and stuff like that. This is the current APR. So still awesome. I'm earning 361.7% APR right now on that narrow or larger liquidity pool that I got. So I'm earning $57.78 currently. Here I'm earning 14 and here I'm earning $1.37. So, right now, there's not a whole lot of volume. So, these are low right now, but I've seen them as high as like $200 on this one and like 60, $70 on that one, but just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is just shitting me out money and printing me money. So, if I'm sleeping, if I'm fishing, if I'm doing work outside, if I'm working out, whatever, this is making me money. So I think I've tried to touch on just about everything I can. I'll go through the chat real quick and see if there's any questions. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to switch to doing futures, been buying long term to buy and hold. That's what I'm doing with this is like I said, I'm using the fees, where I'm getting ETH and USDC to where I'm holding the ETH because I think ETH is getting ready to pump, because Bitcoin's been doing it. Historically, ETH is next. So I'm just stacking ETH, USDC, and fees. I'm stacking to use as dry powder. And Arrow, I'm just letting that sit. And anytime the price pumps and I see an opportunity, then I convert that. I'll go to swap and I'll convert that either into USDC. If I don't see anything I immediately want to dump, those profits into, I might buy some Bitcoin. I might buy some more ETH. I might buy some Ondo. It just gives me that dry powder. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my profits, hoping that when my bags pump, they're going to make me more money than this is. This I'm trying to dial in and learn because it works best for me and with my skill level right now when the market's trending sideways. Again, trying to stay in that range. In a volatile market, you're going to do better on your bags because your bags are probably pumping. If they're going up, obviously. What I plan to do is I plan to do this with this $10,000, and then I have like another 50 grand or so that I have in bags that I'm going to let pump, and I'm going to start peeling my profits out. Like you're supposed to ladder out, take profits, and put those aside, and I'm going to put them in stables, and I'm just going to come the first of the year, start taking a little out, a little here, a little there, and I'm going to probably be out, depending on the market, probably July, August, and just be 80% in stables and the rest of it, I'll probably have in long-term holds. I'm a big believer in Casper. I get a lot of shit for it, but I really believe it's going to do some good things. And a couple of other ones, like Ondo and Aerodrome and Bitcoin and stuff like that. I'll have some long term, and I'm going to wait for the market to dump. I'll probably put some on Coinbase to earn 6%. Yeah, we're getting some pretty heavy snow here, guys. I might have to. All right, I think I'm back. Yeah, we're having a pretty heavy snowstorm here. Got some fat flakes dropping, so I might have to cut this off. I'm hoping that you guys are seeing this. So basically, just to finish out, my plan: be out in stables. I have a couple of places I'm going to put, some of that, USDC. I'll put some on Aerodrome and earn 15% in a USDC USDT pair. I'll probably put some on Coinbase to earn like a steady 5-6%, and just wait for the market to dump. And once the market dumps, then I'm just going to buy back in and just rinse and repeat. And all through the bear market, when we were just in those doldrums where like nothing's doing anything, everything's trending sideways, I'm going to provide liquidity for people that are trying to scalp trade and do all the trading and borrowing and stuff like that, and and earn off of my, and start stacking my bags again and wait for the next bull market. All right, cool, man. Well, I'm going to cut this off. I appreciate, Ducey. I appreciate you showing up. Deadwood, Bob, all you guys. I appreciate the support. I'll try to let Nicole and all of them that keep asking me about this. I'll try to let them all know about it as well. And MWP. Not often we see people in the chat on X. You got to have the blue check mark. But yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. I'll try to do updates on this as I learn. Again, this is not financial advice, Ducey, you son of a bitch. Uh, I do not copy trade me. So yeah, I'm just learning. This is anybody that's in crypto, it evolves so fast. If you're not learning, you're not paying attention, because there's a lot of stuff. Oh, Uncle Tinfoil. Yeah, I remember you, man. Um, yeah, there's a whole lot of there's a whole lot to learn, and this is a fast moving tech. So if you're not learning, you're getting left behind. But I highly suggest, if you haven't, learn about DeFi. Become the bank. There's a reason why you have JP Morgan Chase and you have Wells Fargo and you have these massive institutions that make money hand over fist. All of these yields that I just showed you on Aerodrome, this is what they've been doing. But they've been charging 8%, APR and all this on trillions and trillions of dollars on your money sitting in the bank that you're not earning anything on. And if you are, it's very little. Take the power back. Take your value, and be careful on what platform. I'm using Aerodrome because I feel the most confident in it. It has, Coinbase behind it. It has BlackRock behind it. It has some heavy movers behind it, and not a guarantee, but makes me feel more secure. So, and I don't have all my money on it. I have a decent amount, but earning 1%, on average per day here in about 3 months, because of compounding interest, I'm going to have my initial investment that I've peeled off, because I'm peeling those profits off, like I said before, in Arrow and in ETH and stuff like that. And I'm moving that off the platform, and I'm, stacking my other bags and putting stuff in cold storage, and, putting USDC off to the side and dry powder. So then I'm playing with house money. If the platform goes down, yeah, it sucks. Lost 10 grand, but I made 10 grand plus whatever before it went down. So I'll end it with that. Hope you guys happy trading. Veteran Crypto out.